So I think we'll kick off if that's okay. Look, you're all very welcome to this morning's webinar, our EURES Cross-Border Employer Incentives Business Briefing. And my name is Paul Clancy. I'm CEO of the Chamber here in Derry and Londonderry. The Londonderry Chamber of Commerce, in partnership with EURES Cross-Border and in collaboration with Letterkenny Chamber, are delighted to host this seminar for SMEs on employment incentives and support available to employers in the cross-border region. And it's great that so many of you could join us today. And I'm really looking forward to our session. And I'm delighted to welcome Lydia McAleenan from Department for Communities, Michael Tunney from the Local Enterprise Office, Gary Stokes from Intertrade Ireland, and Carmel Curran from the Department for Social Protection. And I'll give a short presentation on EURES to start to kick the ball off, if you like. Maybe Tony, you'd like to just say a few words just to get the ball rolling. Just before you do that, though, I might just say there is opportunity to put questions into the text box in the bottom of your screen there, and we'll go through those questions as we go through the webinar, and we'll endeavour to get through everything by the end of the hour if possible, and if not, we'll come back to you just to make sure we get those questions to you as best we can from our panel members, just in case we run out of time. So Tony, maybe you'd like to just...
I'm Tony Forrester from Letterkenny, CEO of Letterkenny Chamber of Commerce. For people who don't know me, I'm delighted to be able to collaborate in the EURES project with Derry Chamber. I think obviously it's very timely that our cross-border is back on the agenda far more than it probably has been for years. And let's hope we can get opportunities from our cross-border rather than necessarily seeing the downside of it. So I'm really looking forward to today and this morning, and thanks again to Derry Chamber for inviting us along.
Well, thank you very much, Tony. I'm just going to share my screen here and get this presentation up. So I hope you can see that. Maybe somebody could nod there, just let me say they can see it. Yeah, perfect. Okay, well look, just a little bit about the cross-border, EURES cross-border partnership. A little bit of, we've done the welcome and want to explain who we are, what we do, where and when, and some of our priorities. So look, European Employment Services, that's where the EURES is, that's where the abbreviation comes from. It's made up of two arms. We have a transnational arm to help people get jobs, or employers to get workers across the EU, or alternatively EU workers to get jobs here. And the second part of it is the cross-border bit, to help cross-border workers, employers, job seekers in the border region of Ireland. And that is us, the EURES Cross-Border Partnership Ireland, Northern Ireland. So what organisations are part of our partnership? Well, we have the Congress of Trade Unions, we have the Chambers, we have Employment Affairs and Social Protection, Department for Communities, and the CBI. So that's just some of the organisations that are involved in the makeup of the EURES and support the messages. And we have advisors based in the partner organisations who carry out work on behalf of the EURES Cross-Border Partnership, and our chamber is one of those advisors that supports Joe Lavery and his team within the EURES to support businesses on both sides of the border. So what do we do? Well, we have three target groups: the cross-border worker, the cross-border job seeker, the cross-border employer. And we provide information to cross-border workers on employment-related issues such as taxation, national insurance, social security, and secondary benefits, all those type of things. And we help job seekers from both sides of the border widen their net in their search for employment. And we also assist employers by providing them with access to a large pool of labour. Advice is also provided to employers on a range of cross-border recruitment issues. Now, we cover the whole of Northern Ireland and the border counties of the Republic of Ireland. And when we have activities ongoing throughout the year, and actually enough, a lot of these activities unfortunately have been curtailed, and we've really done our very best to try and today is part of that, to do these virtual meetings to try and connect with everybody that we possibly can in the border region. But normally we would have a cross-border jobs fairs. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do much of that this year. We've had our cross-border taxation information events, and we had one earlier, and we're planning to have another one in December. And we do our cross-border employment support events like today. So we're an advisor network, and there is more information material and available on the website there, www.eurocrossborder.eu, or on the social media platforms that we're on as well. So our priorities are addressing skill shortages and employment bottlenecks in the border areas. And I was it was only I think it was last Thursday, I was on a call, and certainly talking about apprentices and things like that, and employment opportunities that are going to be, you know, there will be shortages, because there is a lot of what we say, civil works planning to be done in the Derry area in particular, with the city deal that's going to be happening over the next number of years, and there's a great opportunity there for employment. But looking at it, there may be shortages of some skills that are going to be needed to fulfill those gaps. So yeah, they're great opportunities, but still we need to make sure we have the right people and the right training in place to support those jobs. We also want to provide clear factual information in these unsettled times, and that's what Letterkenny and ourselves through EURES are doing as well, is to get that information out to our members as quickly and as accurately as we possibly can. And we want to support our target groups of employers, workers and job seekers with cross-border supports. So that's just a whistle-stop tour through what EURES is about. Really delighted that so many of you could join us today, and I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'm going to pass over to Lydia, if that's okay. Lydia, if I could ask you to maybe kick us off. You're going to share, I think, a presentation.
I certainly am. And we'll just get that started.
Perfect. Yeah, it's coming up there. Lovely.
That's perfect. So good morning. I would like to thank EURES Cross-Border Partnership and the Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to this webinar to talk about the support department for communities can offer small, medium and micro enterprises to recruit and retain staff, and also their recovery response to the ongoing pandemic. Today, I'll share information about our employer engagement services, as well as an overview of the new Job Start programme, the revised work experience programme, and also the Department for the Economy's apprenticeship recovery package. As a representative of the department, the overview will be high level, but I will provide contact details for you should you wish to ask any lower level questions after today's webinar. If you want to recruit the right employees for your company or access the range of support programs and services available to you and your staff, the department's employer engagement service can still help you during COVID-19. Whether you're a large, medium, small or micro employer, the assistance we provide includes a dedicated client executive account manager or local employer advisor, who will act as a lead for your organisation in advising and brokering the range of services you and your staff require. We'll provide advice on your recruitment needs, so that can include job promotion, job matching, application sifting, arranging interviews and a lot more. We can promote your vacancies through the department's social media platforms, our local network of 35 offices and our partner organisations, and our recruitment website, Job Centre Online. We can also provide advice on recruiting and retaining people with disabilities. The department also has a redundancy service, and that's to help employers and employees through the process of redundancy. So we can help you by planning, coordinating and delivering a support package tailored to an organisation's individual redundancy situation. And this can either be done face-to-face or virtually. And all of that happens at no cost to you, the employer. From January 2019, Employer Vacancy Service has been the centralised department for communities vacancy taking service across Northern Ireland. The Employer Vacancy Service manages employers online, and that's a cost-free service. So by registering your company on Employers Online, you can submit vacancy adverts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they are posted after approval on the Job Centre Online website. So in 2019, we advertised over 42,000 vacancies. 2020 so far has seen over 20,000 vacancies advertised despite the ongoing pandemic, which, as we all know, has stalled recruitment across multiple business sectors. However, on the flip side of that, with the increasing rates of unemployment, Job Centre Online has seen significantly increased traffic, and we are receiving on average over the last 6 months approximately 1 million hits per month, and that is 10 times more than the same period last year. The following programmes and support packages have been put or are being put in place by the Department for Communities and the Department for the Economy to support people and jobs as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of you will be familiar with the Work Experience Programme. The refreshed Work Experience Programme will be introduced from the 30th of November 2020. There will be two separate strands. The original, which offers people aged between 18 and 64 a 2 to 8 week placement, and the new Opportunity Guarantee, which offers young people aged 18 to 24 a 13 week placement. Now, there's some key changes to the Work Experience Programme, and that includes the introduction of an incentive payment of £10 per day for the participant, and that will be paid alongside existing travel and childcare expenses. There will also be a grant of £250 made to the employer after the participant has been on their placement for 1 week. Opportunity Guarantee has been introduced to tackle youth unemployment. Employers must offer either a job or apprenticeship interview at the end of the 13-week placement. Employers will get an incentive payment of £250 after the first week and £250 at the end of the 13th week. Participants again will be paid an incentive payment of £10 per day. Opportunity Guarantee placements can link with Job Start, which can provide government funding for a 6-month job opportunity, and I will talk about that in my next slide. Claimants would be expected to attend between 25 and 35 hours per week, although in some cases those hours can be reduced to take account of individual participant circumstances. There's definitely a range of benefits for your business taking someone on either strand of the Work Experience Programme. You will be directly contributing to the development of people's employability skills and career aspirations. You can access the local labour market and explore the pool of talent available, and you can engage with someone on work experience on a trial basis before signing a contract for employment. I'm sure most of you will have heard of the Kickstart scheme, which has been launched in GB, and Job Start is the Northern Ireland equivalent and is expected to launch during December 2020. It is open to employers of all sizes in the public, private sector, as well as those in voluntary and community sectors. Employers in Northern Ireland will be able to approach the Department for funding from the Job Start scheme, even if you wish only to create one opportunity. This approach ensures instant access to the scheme to employers of all sizes across Northern Ireland. Employers can apply for the scheme through an online application process, and that will be accessible via NI Business Info website. The Job Start opportunities created with the Job Start funding must be new jobs. They mustn't displace anyone on furlough or other employees, and there will be checks and balances, of course, in place to check this is the case. The job opportunity must be for a minimum of 25 hours per week for 6 months, or up to 9 months for a young person with a disability, and it must pay at least the national minimum wage for the young person's age group. The Job Start scheme funding is in line with the GB funding for the Kickstart programme, and it will cover 100% of the relevant national minimum wage for 25 hours of work per week, associated national insurance, and all employer minimum automatic enrolment contributions, for example, pensions. There's also up to £1,500 of funding available for each job opportunity for setup costs. So that could cover anything from health and safety training to a CSR card to PPE and any other setup costs approved by the department. The young person applying for the job opportunity would have to be in the 16 to 24 age group, and they must not be employed when applying. Specialist youth work coaches in the Jobs and Benefits Office will work with the young people to ensure that they are job ready to apply for your opportunity. Job Start opportunities will be displayed on Job Centre online, and the young person will apply in the normal way by submitting an application directly to you, the employer. At the end of the Job Start opportunity, it is hoped that the employer will employ the young person, and you would be encouraged to do so. So, as I've already said, Job Start is due to launch during December 2020, and further information will be available on NI Business Info website to coincide with the launch. Finally, the Department for the Economy has developed an apprenticeship recovery package for Northern Ireland that will channel financial support to local businesses to help the apprenticeship system respond to the impact of the COVID-19 crisis. The slide shows both the recruitment incentive and the return, retain, result incentive. The recruitment incentive provides up to £3,000 for each new DFE funded apprenticeship opportunity created up to the 31st of March 2021. It applies equally to new apprentices and those made redundant by other employers. Employers will receive their first payment of £2,000 after 90 days retention following the start of the employee's apprenticeship. They will then go on to receive their second payment of £1,000 after 200 days retention following the start of their employee's apprenticeship. And that scheme is open at the moment for applications. The return, retain, result incentive provides up to £3,700 to help employers return apprentices from furlough and to help retain them to be able to complete their apprenticeship. So employers will receive £500 per furloughed apprentice returning to work for a period of at least 4 weeks. And the qualifying period for that began on the 1st of November. Employers will receive up to £2,000 when a furloughed apprentice is retained until the 31st of March, and that will be paid at £500 per month following the return month. Once the returned apprentice has successfully completed their apprenticeship, you, the employer, will receive £1,200. The incentive scheme opens for applications on the 1st of December. All the information regarding this incentive can be found on the NI Business Info website. And again, I've included the link to that within the presentation. So that brings me to the end of my presentation, which I hope you have found informative. As well as the links to the information throughout the presentation, I've also included my own team's mailbox. So if you have any questions following the webinar, please get in touch and I will make sure they go to the right person for a response. So just remains for me to say, please stay safe and well, and hopefully we can all look forward to a much brighter 2021. Thank you.
Lydia, thanks so much for that presentation. That was really good. And I think it's really interesting, the Job Start programme is a fantastic initiative, and also that DFE apprenticeship recovery package as well. I mean, there are two things, but I can't believe the number of hits that you're getting. 1 million hits. That's just
1 million hits. It's crazy.
And I'm very positive to hear that 20,000 vacancies are there's still a number.
Yeah, there are vacancies coming through, and those have certainly increased over the last few months, but it just shows the exposure your vacancies or an employer's vacancies will get, you know, if you use the Job Centre online website.
Yeah, there's a question here about licenses. I might come back to that now from Robert. I just might move on to you, Michael, if that's okay. If you'd like to share your screen, and we'll come back to that question then.
Yeah, are we there? Yeah.
Yes, we've got you there, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you, Paul, and thank you for the invitation. My name is Michael Tony from the local enterprise office, and I think I was given a heading of sort of innovation and skills development programs. So I have just one slide. Hopefully we'll cover most of it. A bit like all of the public sector and private sector businesses, we had Brexit 12 months ago that we were all sort of beating the drum about and worrying about, and then along came COVID in March, April, and we've been all absorbed with that over the last 8 months. And definitely within the local enterprise office as the first point of contact in Donegal, we have seen our workload by way of new programs and applications multiplied by a factor of 11 at this point in time, and it's probably going to reach 12 or 14 by the end of the year, just by way of applications, inquiries, and also actually the amount of money that's been moved through the local enterprise office to local business in Donegal. So we are the first point of contact for businesses, and any business in Donegal wanting to set up or expand. So just make that point, and we work very closely. As like tomorrow morning, we will sit online with all of the other enterprise development agencies in Donegal to discuss the range of programs that each is doing, and to make sure that we're not duplicating or competing with each other, and also trying to identify opportunities for the future. So it's very much why we're the first point of contact. We're very closely with Enterprise Ireland, Udras na Gaeltacht, ETB, and other organisations. Critical thing from ourselves, on an annual basis, we carry out an employment survey, and we integrate a needs survey in that as well. So hopefully now by the first week of December, we will have our results. And these are of about 250 clients of ours that would have received grant aid in the past. So that, as I say, tries to collect the sort of the employment numbers, which we have to report on to government. More importantly from us, we were looking at the issues around their general development, but also their Brexit development challenges. And then we use that to try to inform our programs that we will develop for 2021. And on an annual basis, we would run sort of a suite of different programs depending on needs. We have some standard training, ones like start your own business, small business accounts, and then depending on what comes out of that survey, there could be another. I'm trying to reduce the number, but it seems to be getting more and more every year because it's more and more of a demand, and particularly now with online. So I think this year so far, it's about just short of 50 programs have been delivered. In addition to that, and it's interesting, this suite of programs was this time last year, we actually had discussions with Government and Enterprise Ireland about the Brexit suite of programs, but they're actually only now ready to go on for delivery because of, I suppose, the COVID had that interruption. So all of these programs have been tendered and the delivery agents have been identified and contracts have issued. And it was to be 6 programs, but at the moment it's 5. So there's going to be 5 programs, a retail program, a green program, innovation, exporting, and financial management. Each of these programs will have an element of an initial assessment. Then they will have, in some cases, like in the exporting and innovation and financial, there'll be workshops, and there'll be some one-to-one mentoring and consultancy. In the green, as it will be primarily an audit, internal audit, 2 to 3 days consultancy, and then the company, depending on what the outcomes of that will be, the companies can either avail of further consultancy in relation to their, I suppose, a green proposition of where they can make savings, but also they can apply for a 50% grant to a max of $2,500 to cover costs associated with addressing some of those recommendations or issues. As I say, those 5 programs will be coming on. We're starting to promote them probably before Christmas, but really looking toward the new year. And the first ones that we're going to be coming online with in Donegal are retail and green, followed then by financial management, exporting in February, and innovation around March. So those are the sort of the suite that we know of, and then there's the additional ones we will do. Again, just on an ongoing basis, again, in relation to Brexit, customs training programs for companies in Donegal. We do an introduction. It was a 1 day. Now I think it's 3 2-hour sessions online. We've been delivering those for the last 18 months. And as well as that, then there's further customs training from the likes of SkillNets. We do very detailed training, and I know because a big issue is the lack of customs agents. So I know 1 or 2 companies, 1 or 2 accountants in Donegal have now got themselves qualified and set up as customs agents. But it's important, I think, for any business that will be buying product or selling product on a cross-border basis, but more importantly as well, buying or selling into the UK, to actually get a grasp of what is required in relation to that customs training or customs, and understand the process. And if you are buying or selling, to get registered with on our side with revenue get your EURI number. Just another, I suppose, program that we have that is innovation based and driven around innovation, and we have been delivering for the last 12 years, is a project called ProfitNet. We have one particular group now that have been working with for about 4 years, which is an engineering group in Donegal, also trying to do further work with that engineering group to take them up to a different level on an international basis. We'll be rolling out a ProfitNet group for the food sector, and we're looking at one probably in technology. So it's peer learning. It's a once a month meeting, 3 hours at a time, facilitated, set model, with a certain amount of homework to be done by companies on a cross-border basis or on a monthly basis. My mind was confusing because this actually, the ProfitNet came out of a program that we started about 20 years ago. And it's funny, a history kick is coming back. It was a group of engineering companies in Derry and Donegal that was funded by both the local enterprise office or the then enterprise board and Invest Northern Ireland, which was kind of an unusual thing. So ProfitNet then evolved out of that and our experience of working with clusters. And we should add as well, the Co-Innovate program, which is led by Intertrade Ireland, the local enterprise offices in the border counties and the local enterprise agencies, along with Scottish Enterprise and Highlands and Islands. The Co-Innovate program is very much geared on innovation. It had 5 different steps in it, between an audit, an innovation audit, but then more importantly, it has a very strong cross-border element to it. If there's a company in Donegal and a company in Northern Ireland or a company in Scotland wanted to develop a product or a market opportunity, required to bring in and engage with third level there. So there's significant funding under level 4 and 5. Level 4 is co-funding under the Co-Innovate program for a graduate for 12 months, and then probably up to 200,000 plus under level 5 for a significant project. I know currently we have a company in Donegal that's engaging with a company in Scotland. We're just trying to find a third level partner to work with them on their strategic project, and they're hoping to get a couple of 100,000 out of that. At level 4 and 5 are still open under the program, so if anybody's interested, either to contact ourselves in the local enterprise office or indeed Intertrade Ireland, and there's a dedicated team there within Intertrade Ireland on that. And just finally, because I'm conscious of time as well, I know one of the issues around employment support, from the point of view of the local enterprise offices, the only employment support we can provide is where a client is either an added value manufacturing company or a service company with the potential to export. So the employment support is one of the means by which we can provide grant aid. It's an eligible area. So any new employees within those eligible companies and your micro enterprise is less than 10, taking on somebody new in the first 12 months, we can definitely look at it. And that employment support is generally between 8,000 to 15,000 euros per new employee, depending on I suppose the salary being paid to the clients. So just to finish, I'd say, if you want any further information on these, we will be rolling out those Brexit suite of programs come December or January. But if you want any information, log on to our website or contact us at the number above. Thank you, Paul.
Michael, thanks a million for that. That's been really comprehensive there. Really, and some really interesting stuff there. I mean, that Brexit suite of programs sounds great, and there's a €2,500 support there. I think you mentioned grant support there as well. The last point you made, between 8,000 and 15,000 for businesses under 10. So there is finance there if you have the right business case, and just make sure that to make contact if you feel you fall into that sector. Yeah, and I've come across this, the trader support, and we were getting constant calls now to the chamber in relation to customs and what is happening after January. I'm sure Tony's getting the same as well in her chamber. And we've had a couple of webinars wrapped around Brexit, and we've invited the trader support services to present at that. And it's really important that people log on to that. There are supports there, but you're absolutely right. There's a bit of a vacuum, and of course, not everything is clear. Some is clear, but definitely the trader support services can help you from that point of view. So we'll include that as a link with the presentations afterwards to all members. So thanks so much. Thanks again, Michael, for that. Thank you so much. If I move on to Gary now. Gary.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm just going to go off screen for 2 seconds while I get the slides up. Just bear with me.
No worries. Yep, somebody's looking for a copy of Lydia's presentation. Yes, we'll share all those. Just looking at the questions. How do I register for the customs training? Was a question. Maybe that's it.
Generally, Paul, with us is we advertise it through our website. So you go to localenterprise.ie /Donegal, and on the front page, upcoming programs are there and you book online.
Perfect. Thanks, Michael, for that.
Just bear with me, folks. I'm having a slight problem.
We can see the slides there.
Yes, I'm not getting the, sorry, bear with me. I'm not getting the slide slow option. Sorry, this is covering slightly. Bear with me. Go away. Sorry. Sorry, folks. Apologies.
All right, go ahead. Take your time. There's no panic. There is the icon down the bottom right hand.
Yeah.
That one that you want to show as a PowerPoint presentation.
Sorry, I think what's happening is this is moved up to the top and cover my options. Sorry.
Keep going right there, Gary. Keep going right. Another bit. No, too far, too far.
No, it's cover the.
Yeah.
Bear with me. Can I move this? Sorry, I really apologize for this.
You're okay.
Sorry about this.
If you're having a problem, Gary, you could email the presentation to me, and I could share it for you if you want to do it.
If I can get this moved, it's covering up my.
We can see the slides on your left-hand side here.
Yeah.
If you want to just click.
The problem is I can't see the option to. Sorry about this. If I drag that away, sorry, that's going to work now. Yeah, slideshow.
There we are.
So I'm going to move you down.
You're a good man to have in a time of crisis, Gary. You're very cool.
So listen, apologies. No, what happened there? The options, the Zoom options were covering up my present. So apologies. I was doing this in future. You can just drag it down. So look, first of all, thanks everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to present this morning. Thanks to our hosts. I personally wish I was doing this up in Derry. I've great memories. I worked in the Playhouse in Derry in the late 90s. Great memories of the year I spent there, and I'd much rather be doing this, as I'm sure most people would, in a face-to-face environment and have the chance to have a cup of coffee or tea with people afterwards. But so Intertrade Ireland, I would say most people know who we are, but in case you don't, Intertrade Ireland, this is our 21st year. We celebrated 20 years last year. We came out of the Belfast Agreement in '98 and were set up in '89. So we were the cross-border body for trade and business development. So that's Intertrade Ireland, based in Newry, we have around 50 staff. And currently, when our offices are more or less empty. I think most of us have been in maybe 5 or 6 times since March. So that's Intertrade Ireland. What I want to talk about first of all, and I hope this slides move. Sorry. Yeah. So we introduced 2 programs after March to look specifically at what we could do in terms of COVID. There are so many supports out there, and I also appreciate a lot of businesses have fallen through gaps as well. But Intertrade Ireland's programs are specifically, in terms of COVID, aimed at cross-border businesses. Unsurprisingly, I mean, obviously there are a huge amount of programs we've already been mentioned this morning, but operated by Enterprise Ireland and Invest Northern Ireland. But the 2 that we have, so first of all, eMERGE, and then our emergency business supports. eMERGE, the whole idea behind eMERGE came about with obviously a lot of businesses who maybe weren't well developed in terms of their online presence or their e-marketing, had, in terms of COVID, had to totally rethink that aspect of their business. So we put together a small grants package, £2,500 for a consultant to work with cross-border businesses in the manufacturing or tradable services sectors to look at how to develop online presence and increase online sales, and also in terms of e-marketing, how better to e-market a business's products. We've been trying our best to turn the program's running since the start of the summer, and we're trying to turn those applications around as quickly as we possibly can, because we appreciate businesses need the support now or yesterday rather than tomorrow. So that's eMERGE. As I say, that's looking at e-marketing and your online presence and trying to increase your sales online. Typically, a business will get maybe 4 or 5 days of support from a consultant out of the £2,500. Okay, emergency business solutions. Again, aimed at cross-border businesses, but this time the sectors are much wider. We're not looking totally this time at, as in the previous program, this is not limited to manufacturing or tradable services. And the whole idea of this program, again, it's a small grant to work with a consultant for 4 days to look at aspects of your business that have been affected by COVID and to help the business navigate COVID. So things like looking at what other government supports are out there for the business, helping complete application forms, And one of the ones we're seeing increasingly, and I suppose it's unsurprisingly, HR issues. There are huge HR issues for businesses. And I see a lot of the applications coming across my desk at the moment in this program are specifically business are looking help in terms of HR. So as I say, that's our two COVID initiatives. The application form is very, very short, and that's deliberately so. Again, we're trying to turn these around as quickly as we possibly can. And as I say, get the support out to businesses as quickly as possible. There you have our main core programs there that Intertrade Ireland up, right down from our Brexit supports through our trade programs, innovation programs, the funding programs that I'm involved in, and our Go to Tender program. And I'm going to talk briefly through each of those. So our Brexit Advisory Service, going a couple of years now. We don't pretend that we have all the answers in relation to Brexit. We're sitting very much almost where we were last year. We're waiting to see what was going to happen, and we find ourselves in very much the same situation, hoping that there will be a trade deal done, and that it will minimise the impact to businesses across the island of Ireland. Our Brexit team got a lot of online content. Any of this information you will get on our website, intertradeireland.com, but we've put there's a lot of material now available on the different aspects of how your business may be impacted by Brexit. What we found, business in Northern Ireland are to some extent tuned in. Businesses along the border are particularly tuned in, we find, in terms of Brexit. The farther we move south, when we ran events in places like Cork and Limerick, to a lesser extent, there's an element of, well, all my customers are within the jurisdiction, but what we tend to find, companies have not maybe looked at their supply chain and considered the impact. So there's a small grant again to work with a consultant to identify the issues that may impact your business from Brexit, and to look at what the business can do in terms of mitigating those risks. So that's our Brexit Advisory Service, and it's obviously busy again, because obviously Brexit very much in the news again, and we're waiting with sort of bated breath to see what announcements we have for the 31st of December deadline. Cross-border sales, and this is probably the core. This goes back to Intertrade Ireland from inception. The sort of core programs we ran. The two I'm going to focus on are Acumen and Elevate. So Acumen, you're a company based in Kerry, for example, and you want to sell your goods into the Republic of Ireland. Acumen will part fund you to take on a full-time, part-time salesperson to sell your goods into the Republic of Ireland. Both programs are aimed at companies in the manufacturing or tradable services sectors. And again, it works vice versa. If you're a company in Donegal and you want to sell into the north, the support is there again. I say you will part funding towards a full-time or full-time or part-time salesperson to sell your goods in Northern Ireland. So that is the Acumen program. The Elevate program is very much its sister to Acumen. It's the same idea. You're selling north-south or south-north manufacturing tradable service, and this time it's 100% funded, not part funded. This time not for a salesperson, but for to work with consultants to build a sales plan, again, to sell your goods, whether it be north-south or south. So say there are two core sales programs, that's Acumen and Elevate. In terms of innovation, I'm going to again highlight two programs here, which fusion ties directly in with the employment theme today. So if you're a business and you have an innovation project that you would like to develop, Intertrade Ireland will part fund and help you recruit a third-level graduate, work with the business for either a period of 12 or 18 months on that innovation project. It was an example that I would be familiar with. We have worked with Patrick Joy, the founder of a company called SureTank. Patrick, a former All-Ireland Entrepreneur of the Year. They make tanks for the oil industry, and they're based in Dunleer in County Louth. Patrick would have said, admitted that within the business, the product development within the business was extremely ad hoc over the years, and they recruited a Fusion graduate through the program who went to work for the business, and Patrick has told us the individual totally streamlined their product development within the business. So that's the Fusion program. The Impact program is a relaunch of an older program which we ran a number of years ago, and it's up and going again. There's substantial funding available on this program. It's probably the most substantial funding of all our supports within Intertrade Ireland. And the Impact works, so you have a company based in Northern Ireland and a company based in the Republic, and they come together on a partnership on an innovation project. Now, that innovation project must have economic benefit to both partners, the business north and south, but have wider economic benefits. That program was recently launched, and encourage you to have a look at it. It'll be probably geared towards larger companies naturally. So those are 2 innovation supports. That's Fusion. Okay, Attract New Funding. That's the program that I work on within Intertrade Ireland. We have 2 advisory services. We have for early stage startup businesses who have an interest in securing venture capital or business angel investment. We have secured the services of a former venture capitalist who works with companies to help them become investor ready, and so they can secure, hopefully match them up with either a venture capital fund or a business angel. More recently, we introduced a similar program aimed at small, either established SMEs who have an interest in securing bank finance, alternative sources of finance, or indeed private equity. And just to flag up, we have an event on Tuesday for Northern companies available on our website. We're running a webinar on some of the alternative and private equity sources for companies in Northern Ireland, and the following Tuesday on the 11th of December, we're running a similar webinar for companies in the Republic of Ireland. Our Seacorn competition, incidentally, today is the All-Ireland final. It's happening today. As we speak, 8 companies are pitching online to a panel of independent judges who are recreating the investment panel. The whole idea of so by the end of today, one company will know that they've won the overall prize of €100,000. That we launched that again in March at our venture capital conference on the 4th of March. We'll be launching that again, and that's it's the end of the early stage companies who want to secure venture capital funding, and we ask business to submit a business plan, and in October we identify our 24 regional finalists. So that's the second competition on this section. Just to finish, business angel funding. Business angels, high net worth individuals who not only invest their money but also their time into early stage startup businesses. If you're interested in either securing business angel funding or becoming a business angel, Intertrade Ireland, along with Enterprise Ireland, Invest Northern, a number of years ago, set up the Halo Business Angel Network, hban.org. And please, if you are interested, have a look at hban.org, and either if you're interested in becoming an angel or securing angel investment. The final program I'm going to touch on is tendering. We identified a number of years ago in Intertrade Ireland that a lot of small companies tended to stay away from government tendering because it was very complex, governed by EU law, at least for another while in Northern Ireland anyway. They tended to stay away from it, and despite the fact that government departments and their agencies are constantly in the market for goods and services, so it's a very lucrative market, and obviously government, the government always pay you. You're always would be sure of getting paid for the government. So we've encouraged companies to go on this program. It very much involves workshops and mentoring. And just at an event like this, a physical event 18 months ago in Dublin, after delivering this presentation, a company came up to me afterwards and said, "Yeah, you know, we used to never win any government tenders, but we're in that program and we're now winning 60% of the tenders we submit." Now, I can't promise you that level of return. However, that was a genuine company giving a genuine response to their experience of going on the Intertrade Ireland tender.
Gary, I'm just conscious of the time.
Yes, that's me. And I say, if there's anything there that catches your imagination, well, contact us and we'll do our very best.
Gary, that's brilliant. There's so much stuff there and so many things between Elevate and Acumen and professional advice and eMerge. There's so many things there to focus on, and we have some questions coming in, but I'll take them at the end if that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah, no.
So, Carmel, thank you for being so patient. You're sitting there quietly. So, if we can get Gary to come off screen.
Yes.
And Carmel, I think you're going to share a couple of slides, I think.
Yes.
Right, can I get this off? Bear with me.
You're getting there. That's it.
Maybe that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Now, that's coming up there now, Carmel. That's it. Lovely. Thanks a million. That's great.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. And very informative. I don't mind waiting. It's good. My name is Carmel Kern, and I work in the employer engagement area in the Department of Social Protection in the Intrio Centre, and I'm based in the Letterkenny office. So thank you all very much